Happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope that you all are doing well and staying warm. I know that we've all been experiencing a lot of wintry weather, especially in places that are not used to experiencing that, such as in Texas and Oklahoma. I wanted to start doing the live videos again on Wednesdays, actually a few weeks ago, and it's just been sort of shifting gears and mulling things over. And then one of my old friends that would always watch these every week died, and so I just needed to take a break for quite a bit. I was planning on doing it earlier this year, but now I'm here. So what I'm going to be doing on Wednesdays are doing what I call reflections on the week. I think that I do the daily draws. I've been doing that for 6 years at least, I think. Every single morning I post a card for the day and the energies of the day. And I think that they just sort of get lost in the shuffle of, how things go throughout the day, and people may not be able to catch all of them. And I think that there's more patterns than what we are actually realizing, including myself. And so that's why I wanted to start looking at them on a weekly basis. So I'm actually going to start talking about so last Thursday was the new moon, and so February 11th, I pulled the card, the Fish. And this card represents resources, business, adventures, money potential, growth, new things that can happen on that day. Okay. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to talk about every single one of them, and then I'm going to start looking at how they connect to each other. Okay. And then Friday, the 12th, I got the Lover's card. And so the Lover's card is about a union of two souls or of two groups. It is a positive energy that's about, and this was right before it was the Valentine's weekend. So, I mean, that's not surprising. But it could also just been, really important platonic relationships. I think that our society honestly overblows so much, American society in particular, that everything is only about romantic love and that's it, when in fact there's so many different kinds of love that are equally as important, if not more so, than the romantic relationships. And I think that energy there was prevalent on that Friday. Now, Saturday, I had the protection card. Now, protection, this was talking about being more aware of your surroundings, making sure to be, doing the mundane things like locking your doors and not, especially this was, it was very, very cold this past weekend. And so it was very tempting to, if you had to go somewhere, of just going and turning on your car and letting it warm up and going back inside, because it's really cold out. I mean, we got -10 plus the wind chill and everything this last weekend. So it was very tempting to do that. But, just being very aware of protecting yourself on a mundane level and also on a spiritual level, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. And then Valentine's Day was actually the King of Cups, and this is a really positive card for that day. The King of Cups is a very generous person. He is very sensitive and empathic, and so those are just the energies of Sunday, of Valentine's Day. And then we get to Monday, which was your inner child. So this card represents trying to get in touch with your inner child. I mean, that's exactly what that means. That facing any past hurts or fears, also trying to have more fun, all of the different aspects of seeing yourself, seeing your younger self, and what are the different things that you may be ignoring because of you have to be the responsible adult and you have to make sure to pay the bills and blah, blah, blah. And it's very easy to stay in that mode. And Monday was very much about releasing those, not necessarily releasing those responsibilities, because obviously we can't just, quit our jobs, but it was about looking at whatever fun that we tend to not do on a regular basis, trying to bring that back into our lives in some capacity, as well as to face any past hurts or why you're feeling neglected, and just experiencing and understanding those things. Now, yesterday, so that would be Tuesday, the 16th, we had the Stone 8. And this card is the mastery card for any type of work, craftsmanship, things like that. And so yesterday seemed to have been a really good day for work, for learning a new skill, or more importantly, of tapping into the skills that you already have and enhancing them. And also, it's not just about just having a job. It's about having some type of work that you actually get moral and moral satisfaction from, or that it's a spiritually satisfying to you in some way. So it's not, it doesn't have to be a job. It could have been a craft of some sort that you were working on, but usually it's about some type of work situation that was a really positive thing. So this was yesterday. And then today's card was Agrimony inverted. So it was upside down when I pulled it. And so this herb, or this plant, when inverted, or the opposite energies of this plant was used in ancient times for purification. And when it's inverted, it's a matter of needing to release old baggage, needing to release a lot of fears and a lot of issues and things like that are holding us back. And I actually touched on this in my newsletter this past week when I sent my email, or my newsletter on Monday. And it's sort of like going with that energy. And it's also the energy of Imbolc that we just finished, is that releasing of things in order to allow things to start growing in our lives. Because if we have a bunch of old things around, and that can be stuff, that can be relationships that are no longer serving us, that can be jobs that are no longer serving us, all of these different things that we need to release them in order to allow for other things to come into our lives. Because if we keep all of these things just because we feel we have to, then we're never going to make space, make room, literally, figuratively, spiritually, all of these different things, in order to have these new beginnings. And we're moving towards the spring equinox. That's is it the 21st of March this year? It changes each year, the 20th, 21st, 22nd. But that's when spring starts, and that's when growth begins. And so we can look at that within our own lives. And what are we needing to cleanse? What are we needing to purify within our own lives in order to allow for new growth to come forward? Now, so looking at these 7 cards from the past 7 days, some things that seem to just keep popping up. One is I have some really strong positive work cards. So I think that overall we are, on the whole, in our society, starting to have more positive job experiences, maybe less unemployment, better opportunities to make money. And so those 2 cards are actually really good, especially since we had 2 of them within a 7-day period. That I think that this is maybe a turning point in our society, since we seem to be actually going down in numbers for COVID. I've been checking the numbers every single day since COVID began, and the numbers are going down, and that's a really good thing. We got to keep on keeping on with what we're doing, as far as making sure that nobody else gets sick from it, that we can try to get everything all taken care of with that illness. But overall, that is one major element that is really important, is the job growth and the job opportunities. And this doesn't necessarily have to be just a regular old job. I mean, maybe and especially the fish really represents new businesses, and maybe even your own small business, which it may seem like it's a crazy idea to start your own business in the middle of a pandemic and economic slowing down and things like that. But maybe you have a new idea that is coming directly from our experiences from the pandemic. Maybe there are new things, new ways of doing things that would make us all safer, or make us all do things more efficiently, or whatever it may be. But with the pandemic, there has been, obviously a lot of businesses have gone under and or are really struggling, but then there are other businesses that are really growing because of the things that they've altered and changed and done. And of course, that's a lot in technology, right? So that is one thing that I'm seeing. Another thing that I am seeing is honestly some very positive relationship cards overall. That, we have the Lover's card, and then we also have the King of Cups, which he is a very generous person, and he is very in touch with his emotions. And, I think that we are really feeling more, if that makes sense. It's like, I think that our isolation, our having to be working from home all the time or not being around other people all the time has really made us not desensitized, but sensitized, or more understanding of our emotions and our feelings. And maybe we are more empathic when we actually do get around people. If we have to go to work or grocery store, I mean, the grocery store may still be very overwhelming to you, just because, especially if you're at home most of the time and then you're going to the grocery store and being around other people's energies, you may still feel very overwhelmed by that. And that leads into the protection card. Okay, so I think that we really need to watch the people that we surround ourselves with and the energies that they have. And this goes with today's card, as far as the cleansing and the purification and releasing of any relationships, of any and this could be friendships, it can be romantic relationships, it can be business relationships, all of these different things of, just being more aware of the energy that people have going on around them and how that affects us. And now that we've gone almost a year now, can you believe it? Almost a year that we've been dealing with this pandemic. And, people are at home a lot more, and we're a lot more aware of our energies, of other people's energies, because we're not constantly running around outside, going and doing things like that. So now we're really like, whoa, being around somebody, if you haven't seen them in a long time and you're, like socially distancing, being, socially responsible of going to meet for a coffee or something like that. And this may be an old friend, but you may be like, wow, this person actually really drains me, or really is exhausting, or really is whatever. And you do have to look at, okay, are they just having a difficult time right now because of the pandemic, or is it, this is how they are? Okay. And that is a very difficult thing to face, because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. And at the same time, we also have to take care of ourselves. This is what this card is all about, is taking care of ourselves. And so, and the protection card as well, that's also about taking care of yourself. And you are a person as well. Okay. And so you should not be putting up with any type of abusive situations, and this can be at home, at work, anywhere. And so just being more aware of the energies that you are coming in contact with when you actually do come in contact with anybody, if you do. And I think that it's, but it is that time, and it's also, we're getting near spring, and so spring cleaning, it's that pure purging. And so, the card for the day was out, the purging, looking for things to declutter in your house, releasing things, giving things away to charity, as opposed to, keeping all of your stuff. We've been around our stuff for a very long time now, right? And maybe you're tired of looking at the certain stuff. Or maybe you're realizing that, things actually do hold energy. And, the more stuff that we have around us, the more cluttered the energy in our homes are. And that's where a lot of the feng shui, I'm not an expert at all whatsoever in feng shui, so I can't necessarily talk about that. But I at least know that stuff has energy, just as much as we do. And so just trying to cleanse your space, trying to cleanse your life, trying to cleanse yourself, doing any type of detoxification or something like that. I mean, I really am not about, the special diets and nonsense like that, because they tend to not work well, or they work for a very short time or something like that. But at least trying to start eating healthier, really trying to focus on fruits and vegetables, and, just a pure diet can also be a part of your cleansing. Okay, about taking care of yourself, about making sure that the things that you put into your body, the food and drinks, we also forget about our drinks, right? The food and drinks that we put into our bodies, is it healthy? Is it good for us? So I think that, all of these different cards put together, it really sort of shows more of a pattern of, where our society, where we individually as well as a social group are moving towards. And we are in this space right now of, we have some potential for job growth, and yet we also need to release a lot of things. And we don't want to get back into where we were before, right? Because, the normal was not necessarily great for everybody. I mean, let's do better instead of going back to normal. And so, having these job growths, fantastic. Let's make sure that they're actually healthy for us, healthy for the environment, healthy for, everybody. Okay. And taking care of ourselves in multiple capacities, and also appreciating those relationships that are actually meaningful to us. So, so I think that was pretty much it as far as the cards go. And so what I'm going to be doing is every Wednesday, I'm going to do a reflections video, on my Facebook page live, as well as I'm going to upload this to my YouTube channel. And what I'm going to do now, right after this, is I'm actually going to be making another video that is going to be part 2 of all of these things here, that are only going to be on my Patreon page. I have sent this out. I sent out my last newsletter through email on Monday, announcing this. And I said all this in January as well, just to let everybody know. But I'm moving my newsletter onto Patreon. And so if you want to be able to read my newsletter, which I spend a few hours each time that I write those newsletters, they're quite a bit of work for me, as well as I'm going to be making these supplemental videos. And those are going to be for my patrons only. So I highly recommend, if you have, an extra $5, that's a coffee, right? If you have an extra $5 a month, just to sign up on my Patreon page, so that you can access all of these things. And, then you can also see there's 5 different tiers on there of different, ways that you could become a patron. If you've been really needing to start getting into a regular habit of getting a class from me or a reading from me, I get a lot of people say, yeah, I really need to do this on a regular basis. I just forget, or, whatever. there are options in there to become a patron of getting a monthly class or a monthly reading, a half hour or an hour reading. And that way it is just going to be an automatic thing that we'll schedule. And that way, it's already taken care of. And you also get my newsletter, and you also get, like a spell kit and a bottle of oil and all kinds of other goodies as well in there. So I hope that you all get some really good stuff from these videos, and I hope that you have a good rest of your Wednesday. Please make sure to become a patron. If you don't know where to go, you can just go to my Andarta page on Facebook, and my daily draws have been coming from Patreon since January, I believe. So you can just click on any one of those cards and it'll take you directly to Patreon, and then you can just look on my different tiers and sign up there. Okay. So I'm going to turn off here and I'm going to start my other video, and I will see you all next Wednesday. All right. So have a good rest of your evening. All right. Bye.